Hey, this is Mark Diamond from the Dwarves, the Fresh Prince of Darkness, and you're listening to the Tim O and Harley Show. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tim O and Harley Show. I am Tim O. Over there's my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, turn on your heart light. Harley.
That's me. That boy. Yeah.
Is it too early in the morning? Is it too early in the morning for Neil Diamond?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Right.
No.
Every week, Mr. Ben Harley has been broadcasting from a different space station.
Yeah.
The circling the globe. Right now, he's on a private space station. Shh. It's a secret one.
Yeah. Secret.
It's a secret
it's underground
private
space station. Wait, that don't make sense.
Right. Yeah. So we're just doing musical chairs here with some microphones and stuff like that. Actually, Mr. Ben Harley today is being Mr. Mom.
Yes.
He is watching the lovely Sydney.
Sydney Jane,
yes.
Yeah.
Who is right now being good on her iPad, so we're not going to push those buttons too hard, are we?
No, we're not going to try to push that too much.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep her docile.
Right. So,
yeah.
So we may have a special guest appearance every now and then from Sydney, little Sydney, yes, Ben's daughter. So, so she's going to be a chaperone here and take care of the shop while we're doing the show.
She makes sure I get to the show on time.
Right, exactly. Let's see here, and also Mr. Ben Harley calling all deep thinkers to action. Just reminding everyone to go to FullEmpirePromotions.com to help our good friend Danny Hicks, who is battling cancer. You can go there to a GoFundMe page or buy some autographs. I don't know how long the autograph sale's going on. I do know that the GoFundMe is going on till like July 6th or something like that, July 7th. So just go there and check it out, though. If you can help, cool. If not, could you share something on social media? I'm sure you have social media. I know you do. I can hear you breathing. So we know you have it. So
we know you're on it, right?
That's right. So so we got that going on, and we'd like to thank everyone who's donated up until now, and thank everyone who is going to donate here in the future. The Space-Time Continuum, by the time you hear this is already done, but Fragile Porcelain Mice has done a little on
live gig.
Yeah, a little live streaming gig, which is all the rage here in 2020. To do those.
And that's awesome, though, that you guys are doing that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and I tell you what, for four guys in a band that have been in a band since like 91, for everyone to decide very quickly to do something was a monumental thing. So Danny Hicks is such a great guy that every member of Fragile Porcelain Mice said, "Of course I'll do that."
Yes, and that's awesome. And Danny's, like I said, he's been out to see a couple shows, so.
Yeah, he's been many of them. Yeah, and Ultraman shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and was blown away. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's just awesome that you guys are doing that too for him,
Yeah.
And,
so, everybody has to pay back a little bit, so we're.
That's right.
Trying to throw a little love around in today's crazy world.
A little love.
Yes,
right.
Yes, in this crazy world. So let's move on, Mr. Ben Harley, and get on to some stuff that we watched. I got a few interesting things here.
Lay it on me, my man.
Let's see here. Here we go. Just had to tell you about this one, okay? From 2019. Yeah. All right, 2019.
What?
Yes.
Wait a sec. Come on. Pause.
It's not the
2019.
only. No, hold on. It's not the only 2019 movie. This
that
week.
You've watched?
That's right. That's right. Watched Child's Play.
Oh, the new
Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
Yep. Chucky voiced this time by Mark Hamill.
That's right. That's what I'd heard. Now, how was that?
That was probably the only bright spot.
Because he's good, man. His voice acting is like. His Joker might be my favorite Joker,
right,
from the Batman animated series. So that's cool. Well,
the first 5 minutes of this movie shows you right away that this is going to be different because we all know like Child's Play has kind of a supernatural horror beginning. to it and everything.
Like a voodoo type thing.
Yeah, it's just it's spirits entering
some
things.
Chanting.
Well, this one is a modern buddy. So he hooks up to your smartphone and everything.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So this buddy, it starts off with there's like a sweatshop in Vietnam that's manufacturing these things.
Okay.
Sweating and working on these, on these dolls here, putting them together, putting all the electronics together on an antiquated assembly line at best. Okay. So a foreman comes up and starts scolding a guy for daydreaming and then tells him he's fired. Yeah. So the guy gets pissed off and he takes all of the safety precautions off this buddy doll. That's how it becomes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's because he's upset because he got fired.
Yeah, and that's the last you see of him. That's the last you see of him. That's just you're here. We're gonna throw an explanation why this doll is gonna be mean later. Is gonna go out of control later. Basically. Look, here's the thing.
Okay.
I say this about almost all these movies, all these remakes. Okay, this just should have been a sequel with a modernized doll.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's as always. I just think that. Not made for me. Where's my cane at? I'm waving it around. I'm waving my cane around. Yeah. It just wasn't any good. And no, I'm sorry that the doll it just wasn't the same, Ben. I mean, not that it's going to be the same, but no.
Now it looks like a little bit like it's more animated now though, right? I guess kind of looking.
Well, it's like a robot, so it walks around. Yeah. It can already walk around. And it can already talk to you. And it's already designed to interact with you. You see? So it isn't like a pull string doll. Like I think the original Buddy doll, you pulled a string or whatever and said, "Hi, I'm your friend."
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of creepy. No, this one is like an AI, artificial intelligence type of thing. It learns and stuff and repeats what you say, and it's
self-aware.
Didn't need to be made. A lot of times a movie works really well given when it was put out, and it matches perfectly with where society is and where it was put out.
Sure.
You can't take something from the 1980s, trust us on this, and stick it in 2020 or 2019 and have it resonate the same way. Unless you change everything to make it almost unrecognizable. Because the world is very different now than it was.
Why do it at that point?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes, that's usually where I end up with it too. So no, not very good. Let's see here. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. Yeah. So from 1937, but just released in the last year. Interesting, huh? A movie is on Amazon Prime called As the Earth Turns. Apparently, this was made by a guy named Richard Lyford. Okay, and so this is like I don't want to call it, let's say a no budget, like a indie little no budget personal film made by a guy, and it's sort of like an H.G. Wells end of the world-esque type of story, like actually is predicting World War II. Now you'd be thinking of World War III, because it was before World War II. Sure. So it's like I said, like kind of a H.G. Wells-esque disaster thriller epic made by a guy that had 35 cents. Hey, which back in 1937 could buy you a car. Okay, but I'm just saying.
That's a lot of money back then.
Right. It was so interesting. I had to really dig around to see if what I was watching was real. Like, is this real? Is this really from 1937, or is this somebody? People like to pull the wool over your eyes now in movies. They like to say this is all real. Well, as soon as you see that, it's not.
Right. Yeah.
So on this one,
mermaids.
Right, exactly. So I was thinking on this one, it's like, well, maybe this was just people made it to look like it was made in 1937. That's kind of a hook to it. And it did. But I looked it up, and I think this is legit. I think this was actually basically a home movie a guy made with his friends in 1937, who was it wasn't like he wasn't an editor or a filmmaker. This was something he did in his own time. Wow. That's what it looked like. I wouldn't call it a great film, but for a movie buff or someone interested in something different, first of all, it's silent too.
Okay.
Well, it cost a lot of money to get the audio gear back then.
Oh, he has. I'm sure.
Yeah, the film was easier than the audio gear back then, So, just interesting. Something to go check out. This is why I like Amazon Prime. Folks, you're never going to find something like this on Netflix.
Deep Deep.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
deep
the
Amazon.
Amazon
Yes,
Prime.
deep Amazon for all the deep thinkers.
Yeah.
To go check out. So, not a great movie, but an interesting one. Put it that way. Very interesting.
And you are, I said you're a movie buff, so that's good though. Is it? I don't know, Tim. Is it worth me watching? Maybe
you could check it out if you wanted. And like I said, it's silent. I mean, but it's it's a lot of special effects. A lot of like miniatures and stuff. So the guy did it. Like, it looked like he probably did in his kitchen most of this movie. And
yeah.
I mean, compared to other movies of the day, it's not that far off from where things were. I mean, so it's quaint, but it's
I like that do-it-yourself stuff.
Well, then you might like it. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah. They don't hold back. It's an ambitious little movie for what it is. Trust me on that one. So, again, called As the Earth Turns. Moving on. Let's see here. Yeah. From 1971, watched The Night Stalker.
Night Stalker. All
yeah,
right.
With Darren McGavin in it, the old TV movie. Had fun watching that. I got it on Blu-ray. Watched it. Man, it's amazing what a television movie from 1971 looks like on Blu-ray. It just looks great. Yeah. Absolutely great. And it's a neat little movie. It really is a neat little movie.
I tell you, so like for me to go back and watch, I love watching stuff I haven't seen like in a long time or haven't seen yet, like on Blu-ray or even like something I haven't watched since VHS and then seen it on Blu-ray. It's like watching it all over again, or like, excuse me. To me, that's better than these movies now that try to fake like what the 70s or 60s looked like.
Right,
I should go back and watch.
Yeah.
Because they look like they were made yesterday. They do. You know what I mean?
Let's see here. All right. So now I have a series of 3 films, Mr. Ben Harley, that I did not plan on watching.
Yeah.
I did not plan on there being a connection to these films.
Oh, okay.
But there is a connection to 3 films I watched almost in succession that I had no idea what I was about ready to jump into. To say I was on a freak out would be a understatement because Ben Harley, I didn't know I was going to do this, but I went on a Denmark freak out.
Oh, really?
Yes. Ah. So let's start here.
Some King Diamond stuff?
Well, hold on now. From 2014, I watched a movie called The Salvation. It's a good revenge Western starring Mads Mikkelsen and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. All right, so that was kind of cool. So it's a neat revenge Western, like I said. Nothing too different about it. It's a familiar story and stuff, but done very well. And interesting to watch a Western made by people from Denmark. So it takes place in the United States. It's immigrants, from Denmark coming in. Mads Mikkelsen and his brother gets everything set up and waits for his family to come to join him in the States. And as soon as they join him in the States, bad stuff happens to his family.
All hell breaks loose.
Oh, you don't want bad stuff happening to somebody's family in a Western because they turn into an unstoppable killer, right?
Killing force,
there's your story. So now one of the actresses in this movie was a lady by the name of Eva Green.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay. So the next movie I popped in, I'm just saying that for this reason. The next movie I popped in was a movie from 2011 called Perfect Sense. And as soon as I throw it in, I see it is also from Denmark. And it is also co-starring Eva Green. I'm like, what the hell? So I did not plan this at all. So, here's another one for you. Perfect Sense is a film about a pandemic. I didn't know that either. I just threw in a movie called Perfect Sense. I didn't know what it was. And the pandemic is a virus or a bacteria or something like that causes people to lose their senses one by one.
Oh.
So it'll cause you to lose your sense of taste, smell, hearing, and then finally sight.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that's something you might want to wear a mask around for.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I wear a bag on my head. Right?
Yes, and it is co-starring Ewan McGregor, who is a male lead in it. So the movie is okay. It's interesting to watch a movie made about 9 years ago about a pandemic and to see what, I guess, let's say Hollywood types would say about the pandemic and how to treat it, and then to see how it actually plays out in real life and to contrast that, because all you got to do is turn on your television or phone or something and see how things are playing out and then watch this movie. It's an interesting dynamic. So I'm thinking, all right, well, that's going to be it, right? No, because then guess what else popped in? Guess what else I watched with Angio? And I'm wanting to talk to you about this. So we're going to end it here for me. All right.
Okay.
So from 2019 again, watched Dr. Sleep. Have you heard about Dr. Sleep?
No,
Dr. Sleep is the sequel to The Shining.
Oh,
you haven't heard about that? Really? Ewan McGregor. Yep, it's a Ewan McGregor who plays Danny.
Really?
Yes, and it is him as an adult. And it's apparently what happened was Stephen King said that he'd be at like these book signings and stuff like that. He constantly get asked what happened to Danny after The Shining.
Sure.
And he said he would always joke and he would say, "Oh, he married the little girl from Firestarter." That's what he would say.
Firestarter?
Yeah, that was his story too. So he just, yeah. So what happened was he got asked so many times he actually started thinking about it.
Really?
And then he decided to write a book about it. I got to tell you something. You know what? I actually liked it.
Really?
Because it's not trying to be too scary.
You're not trying to be The Shining either?
No, it's story driven. And Ewan McGregor ends up being an alcoholic. He ends up being an AA. Well, what did you expect? What was his dad? His dad was an alcoholic. You know, and so and he still has, of course, has shining abilities. And of course, he is in connection with other people, just like he was with Halloran, with Scatman Crothers' character. What I like about this is what I said. It's not trying to be too scary. It's a story-driven story. Yeah. All the supernatural elements and all that stuff are still there and everything, but not unlike the 2011 version of The Thing. The sequel really, really tries hard to make this a direct sequel to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Okay, good.
I sat down. We were watching this for about 20 minutes or so, or something like that. Not very long, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And of course, here I go. I started talking during the movie. All right. Look over at Angie. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. She's like, what? I go, well, in this year, I can't believe this movie was made without Stephen King's involvement. Right?
Right.
Can't think that. So he has to be on board for something, correct? So he wrote the story. I mean, it's his story. He wrote the book, like Dr. Sleep. It's his thing. Okay, so here we are watching a movie based off of a Stephen King book that is a direct sequel to the Stanley Kubrick version of The Shining. Right. Now, anyone who knows anything about cinema at all knows it's legendary. Stephen King hated Kubrick's version of The Shining.
Yeah, that's why they redid. Yeah,
yes,
did that one for television, whatever.
Right, and I was sitting there watching this. I couldn't figure out. I couldn't believe how is this in front of me. How is this in front of me? Like, how did this happen? Because there's no way the King. Well, so of course I dug around and looked it up, and indeed, I found out
in Denmark.
I indeed found out that it took a lot of negotiating with Stephen King to get this thing made.
Okay.
Stephen King wanted it to be a sequel, believe it or not, to his television movie. Okay?
Really? Okay.
Yes. So the director wisely, and maybe this is why I liked it, said, look, everybody knows the 1980 Stanley Kubrick movie.
Sure.
Nobody knows your movie.
No, there's only a very few. And I didn't mind it. I remember you didn't like it.
I hate
much.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's just it came and went.
Well, it was made for TV miniseries. First of all, it's really long. That's the first problem with it.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's Stephen King being too literal with the story. Like, look, but there's a reason books don't translate well to screen because they're different mediums.
Right.
You know, I mean, a movie doesn't translate well to a compact disc.
No,
okay, it doesn't. It just doesn't. I know they have audio tracks for the visually impaired and stuff. I get it, but it doesn't translate very well. You know, it's meant to be seen together and stuff. So Kubrick knew how to translate that story into a movie. We've talked about this before. He had all of the elements there. He just had them very subtle for the audience to decipher on their own. And see what I think the disconnect here is that Stephen King is an author. So his job is to write down explanations of what you're seeing, like a dungeon master in Dungeons and Dragons. Right.
You have to. Yeah. You have to create that atmosphere.
Yes.
Through words. Yeah,
yes. And what's brilliant about reading is that you create all that in your mind once you're given the information.
Right.
Well, a filmmaker also knows that what you don't show an audience is where they start creating those same things in their minds in the same place. So Stephen King showed way too much and left very little to the imagination.
No, very little.
Yes, and so I think that was the disconnect between the two. So this film actually kind of comes back around and is a direct sequel in the same way the 2011 The Thing was, to the point where there are like offices with the exact same decor.
Really?
They do show some scenes of the hotel and stuff, and they try so hard to make it exactly the same.
That's awesome, though.
Yes.
That's what I like. That's what I mean. That's what I appreciate, and that's what with the the Thing prequel too. I appreciated that.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so the things that you appreciated about the Thing prequel, you would appreciate about this. It's a totally different story. It does come back to the hotel and try to explain what forces were at work there a little bit, or shed some light. And I found it interesting. I did. I found it interesting. I was okay. Is it scary? Not at all. Okay. Not at all. Not at all. And I
now, was this released, Tim, though, like in the theater? Like, I don't even.
Yeah.
Was it? Huh.
But I'm
trying to. Doctor slept through it, I guess.
you might have. I don't know what was going on at the same time it was released, as far as what was going on in the world or in your world or anything else. It was 2019. It's been over the last year or so. So it's been and the world's been hectic for a while. So I don't know, but I know that this was it was pretty well received. I'm not sure how well it did or anything, but I know it was a big release.
Sure.
The thing is, it's about. I watched the director's cut, which is 3 hours long.
Okay.
The regular, quote unquote, regular version is 2.5 hours long. I would think a 2.5 hour version of this would be sufficient.
It's enough.
Is enough. But I will say, I wasn't really getting bored watching it. We watched it over like 1 or 2 nights. But that was sort of by design. I knew it was long, and I was really worried with a brand new movie that was that long that people might come into physical harm around me if I had to sit through all that. So I wanted to protect my loved ones.
Especially if you didn't like it. Especially if you didn't like it. Right.
I wanted to protect my loved ones and those around me.
Right. Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, it's and I sometimes like doing that, being able to watch, it like a chapters in a book or something, or watch it 2 nights in a row. Something that's super long like that for me. Well, sometimes it helps me keep my interest too.
Yes, and the movie actually is split up into chapters. They actually say chapter 1, chapter 2. So that's what we did. So we watched it. Yeah, perfect. And so Harley, I would check this one out. This might be something interesting when you're printing.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Now, would you watch it on, Tim?
I watched on Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you can rent it. It's got to be on some streaming platform somewhere.
Sure.
I mean, it has to be.
What I'll have to look for.
Yeah. So it wasn't that bad. I actually found the AA stuff pretty compelling. The stuff that didn't have much to do with the horror. They were being so. There is a couple creepy things like they have flashbacks and they have actors who look just like Shelley Duvall. Well, then they do have a Scatman Crothers. Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes. That's not him, but a guy who looks and sounds
like him.
A lot like him, yeah. And of course, these are apparitions talking to Danny. Because if you remember correctly, didn't end well
for the axe.
Yeah,
he got the axe.
It didn't end well for Halloran. Yeah. But he is, it makes sense because he has a Shining, so he talks to people and this and that. But it's worth checking out. I'm shocked. I'm actually really surprised. I did not think I was going to like it.
That's a pleasant surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was disappointed in Child's Play. I liked it less even than I thought it would, which is really going low.
Right.
And then Dr. Sleep, man, I did. I liked it. Am I going to watch it all the time? No, I'm not. But it was an interesting. I thought, okay, in the very beginning, I said X, Y, and Z is going to happen. I watched a couple minutes of the movie, and I was like, oh, well, here's going on. X, Y, and Z is going to happen. So I thought I would spend the next 3 hours like I was watching some of those mysteries I've talked about, kind of like rolling my eyes, like, I know the end. Yeah. I know the end. This one was a joy to see things go where I wanted them to go.
Really?
So when you think about, you watch a movie, you're like, oh man, when you see things like, well, that's stupid. Well, why is that? Because it's not really going where you think it should go or where you want it to go. This going where you want it to go actually works out pretty well. And I I gotta say, the thing also about like the flashbacks is that it's kind of creepy how much they actually look like Shelley Duvall and Danny Lloyd. Yeah. So
that's awesome though.
Yes.
In a way, I mean, it's cool. Like, some of I'm sure it was a little off-putting.
Well, and here's what's really odd, and you might not think this would work, and I couldn't believe how well this worked.
Okay.
But Jack Torrance in any kind of flashback or anything is played by Henry Thomas.
Really?
E.T. Himself, yes, Elliot himself, and I couldn't see that working at all.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, well, how would that work? Why didn't you get like Christian Slater or somebody, or something like that? And when you're watching, like, wow, he did a good job.
Does he?
It gets a little. You're like, yeah, it looks like him. You could tell. Like, here's the thing. This is what's cool about it. All these characters are played by different actors, and immediately you know who they are.
Sure. Okay.
So when someone walks into frame, like, oh, wow, that's Halloran. It's not Scatman Crothers at all. It doesn't even, you wouldn't mistake him for Scatman Crothers, but once he starts talking and everything, you know exactly who he is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, cool. Interesting, man. I mean, seriously.
I'd like to check that out. That sounds very, because I mean, I'm not the biggest Shining guy. I love the movie. I do. I mean, I love the movie, but I'm not like versed in it like most people. I don't watch it, but every couple, I don't know, 10 years or something maybe. Or I mean, I love it. It affected me, and I still remember that just the commercials when I was
they're
a kid
terrifying.
Freaked me out.
Yes, they were terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't really even know what the movie was about.
Exactly.
I just know it was scary.
Yes.
I was like, this is scary, man. It's just something scary, and
seeing those images and those TV commercials made it scarier because you didn't know what the hell was going on. Whoa! I mean, you saw the point of view shot in the maze running after the kid. You saw Jack Nicholson with an axe, and you didn't know it was Jack Nicholson. I didn't know who that was, and I was too little. I was like 6 or 7, and on and on, and the music, and that's the thing too. They have that music. The Dr. Sleep opens with that same music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a direct tie-in, and I think that's why you would like it, because it is so. And I don't want to spoil things for people because, unlike most of the time, you haven't had a lot of time to see this for most people. So I don't want to spoil anything. But I personally thought it was brilliant how they used Kubrick's stuff. And also gave Stephen King what he always wanted at the same time.
Sure.
And they did it in a way that didn't offend me or my sensibilities as a movie snob. And I don't think they would offend or anyone's sensibilities if they're book snobs.
Sure.
They tied it together in like the only way you could to make everyone happy. And I almost stood up and clapped. Not because it's the greatest film I've ever seen. Not because I want to go back and watch it again right away. Because someone took something from our youth, made it today, made a sequel today, and they get it.
And did it good.
They get it. Yes, they get it. It doesn't feel like it was made in 1980. I don't mean that.
Sure.
It feels like it was made today, but they get it.
Got it.
They get it.
Yeah.
Yes. It was.
And
It feels like it was made by adults.
Sure.
How's
Right.
that sound to you? Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, they get. And so
I need an adult every so often, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's very different though. I mean, believe me on this, it's very different. But the way they explain things that happen in the Overlook is, I don't know, it's okay, but it doesn't interfere with what happened. Right. It's like, okay, all right.
And that's good, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to, that does sound interesting to me. I mean, because I can't believe, well, I guess I can't believe that I didn't hear about it or something.
I'm a little surprised you didn't hear about it, but that, like I said,
that name Dr. Sleep sounds really kind of
cool. Well, and I can't really sit here. I'm by design. I don't keep up on the latest gossip and movies and things like that. I'm a classic fan. I'm a fan of classic stuff. So I usually spend my time in there. And of course I watch new films. We talk about them here all the time, but I can't remember exactly when it was released or what was going on at the time. Yeah. It could have been during some sort of big event or something that's been happening over the last couple of years. And I don't remember. And maybe it just flew under your radar. a little bit.
Right,
You know,
right,
it wasn't like in everybody's face, I don't think, but I definitely saw a lot of chatter about it.
Sure.
Put it that way. But hey, is what it is. Check it out if you get a chance.
Right.
Now you said you watched something just a little bit more highbrow.
Yeah, a
that.
lot more highbrow, actually. This was on Masterpiece Theater, I believe, at one time.
Yeah.
I do believe while I was eating some Grey Poupon.
It was hosted by some British person, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
No, actually, I watched The Green Slime.
Oh, that green slime.
The old green slime.
Yeah.
What I like about the green slime is it doesn't waste any time getting going.
No.
Yeah, green slime, right. Actually, Sydney watched Green Slime.
Oh, she give it a grape ape up? Or thumbs up. She's too young for grape ape.
Yeah, thumbs up for Green Slime? Thumbs up? Okay, yeah, sure.
You know what? I liked green slime when I was her age too.
Yeah, you know, I'm telling you, man, what I like though about the movie, it doesn't waste much time.
No.
You know, it gives you kind of where they're at, what's happening. There's a meteor coming, blam, music, green slime, let's go. You know what I mean? Just let's go,
Yeah.
which is cool.
And what music is it? That's some good music. That's a good song.
Yeah, it's some
the green
slime.
slime.
Green slime. Oh, they get down, man. They're getting down.
Yeah.
And I forgot it's got our one buddy in it from Grizzly, right?
Richard Jekyll.
Yeah, Richard Jekyll's in it, and you know, which is I like him. He's got the face. He's got a face.
Yeah.
You know, as we all do.
Oh yeah. Sure.
He's got one of them faces.
Oh,
you know, recognizable.
Sure.
But,
Good character actor. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I really enjoy going back and revisiting it. I know we reviewed it, you know, a couple years back.
The fun thing about the green slime is it's an unabashed monster movie set in space. And it finds a way to be, at least for someone Sydney's age, which I was about her age when I saw it the first time. It can be a little scary, but they're using Toho Godzilla monsters, rubber monsters for it.
Yeah.
They're just not giant monsters. It's tough.
No, but they got there's like, you know, they got one beady eye in the middle, red eye, you know, and then like tentacles with like sparklers that come out. Which is cool, you know.
And they make the noise. They make the noise.
Yeah. And then if they touch you, you know, you're just done, man. They cook you, you know, and so that makes it kind of cool. And plus, too, you know, just like one at first, and then they start coming, you know, more and more.
That's
and more,
I think that was because it was kind of like if you would like shoot them, they would turn into like three of them, or like if you blew them up, they would each piece of it would turn into a new monster, right? That was a very cool. That's another scary thing, you know. It's like a zombie apocalypse thing on a spaceship, but it's the green slime monsters.
Right, and then it's like, how do you get rid of them? You know what I mean? And then, and I like too, the one doctor is kind of obsessed. Like, oh no, we got to save him. We got to, you know, we have to, like, not, you know, he. Right. Of course.
Right.
Like in all those movies.
Mr. Scientist.
Mr. Scientist, you know. Of course, we could probably use it for some kind of military use too, you know. You never know. You know what I mean? So
depends on what decade it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's it's kind of funny because he ends up getting cooked by the monsters, you know, that the doctor at some point, you know. But what a fun movie, Tim. It's just a fun, you know, little movie. That and I miss those kind where I don't really have to think about a whole heck of a lot. You know, it's just, you know, now some of the miniatures and stuff are a little silly in it, but I still love that stuff. That's the stuff that's fun to me.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's 100% eye candy.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. It's definitely something that would keep anyone busy. Well, now Sydney's one thing, but you're pretty distractible. So this is definitely right up your alley. This is right up your alley for sure.
Right.
Yeah, so, well, good.
Yeah, no, good. Yeah, not a fun. And so, and then Tim, so I guess it's just kind of a weird double feature, but it's a double feature nonetheless.
All right.
We went and then we watched The Car. Afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, before I get into that, I think I spoke to you a little bit about they did I don't know if it's a I do if it's a remake or what it is of The Car, like on Netflix or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I got about 5 minutes into it, and
okay,
I was out. So let's we're just gonna pass that right over. We're gonna run right over the new car with the old car.
All right.
But yeah, man, I love this movie. You know what I mean? I just I don't know what I should say. I shouldn't know what it is, but I've always between this and Duel. Now I know Duel came out first, but I just think this movie, for some reason, it just scares the hell out of me. It's not like super scary to where it made a bunch of jump scares or anything like that. But as a kid and stuff like that, just like Duel, these movies, it was believable to me. Now, is there a demon car out there running around? I'm sure there is somewhere. But,
many of them. Yes.
Yeah. But like that back then scared the hell out of me. It just to me it was like indestructible, and the horn sound, and when it would show up, it just it just buzzed all through people or menaced people, and it really scared me as a kid. But even nowadays watching it, that movie, except for a few parts, the movie still holds up really well to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good. I watched it on Netflix yesterday, and it looks great. The digital version looks beautiful. It looks like same thing. It was made yesterday.
Well, it's not going to win any Academy Awards.
No.
But it's not. It's not a movie that's supposed to win Academy Awards.
No.
And that being said, I don't see how it could be better given when it was made and what it's about. I mean, it's almost the perfect movie about a killer car. I mean, a car is you would think is limited by where it can go, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
this movie kind of pushes that envelope quite a bit in a couple parts.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, not unlike Christine, I mean,
this movie scares me way more than Christine.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It was weird because I was thinking that. Not to diss Christine. But
No. But I'm saying like those are both stories that are about as good as they can be, given what they're about.
Right.
Let's put it that way. They're different stories, but they're both about
they're both great.
Yes,
movies,
from where they're
both
coming
great
from.
movies.
Yeah, they're about good because it's not like it's the only. Okay, here, just watch Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah,
and see if you don't understand what I mean. I'm not dissing Maximum Overdrive. It's a crazy silly movie, but it's a silly movie. These aren't silly movies.
No, they weren't made to be silly. Yeah.
No, and the car really, you would think, and should have been made silly, but someone said, "No, we're going to make a damn good movie here, and this is what we're going to do." And everybody played straight, and it works. I mean, it works, and so
And there's a lot of good actors. I forget. Every time I go back and revisit it, I'm like, man, I forget how many good actors.
It's full of character actors and stuff. Yeah.
For me, it's a great. To me, it's not Duel. You know what I mean? Like just like Orca isn't Jaws.
Right.
But I still appreciate the car almost as much as Duel. I mean. Now Duel's a way different thing, and Duel still scares the hell out of me. I mean, it still to me is such a believable film,
right?
For the most part, there's some silly stuff in it, here and there, or supernatural. He's trying to. I think Spielberg was trying to go for a little bit more supernatural thing with the truck was more. You never really saw the guy, very, you never saw what he looked like. It just was, kind of like in the car. You never saw what was in the car. Right. You never did until like the end when it exploded, which was kind of hokey.
Right, yeah.
But still, that's okay. And it wasn't hokey when I was a kid when I first saw it. I was like, oh my God, when it came out in the 70s, that wasn't hokey at all. Now you go back, it's not.
Right.
But that's okay. I'm better with that than them putting some CGI, something stupid in there.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, given the time it was released and the subject matter, I mean, how could it be better? I mean,
I don't know.
How could it be better? Yeah. It's one of those
I don't think it could be.
Gems. Yeah. It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's kind of hidden.
And it is just.
It's a bit of a hidden gem. Yeah.
Yeah, because, and it's funny, like in the last couple of years, it's been, and hey, like I said, God bless them that they tried to do something new with it, but I'm not into it, because a lot of times I feel like these are people. I mean, I know they're trying to cash in on some stuff, but there are also some people involved that like these movies,
right?
But
right.
Sometimes they
like the
fail,
Dr. Sleep thing. That's what I liked about the Dr. Sleep thing. When I said made by adults, I kind of meant made by adults who get it, who truly were fans of the story in that original film, but they still love the Stephen King part of it too.
That's how I feel with that Mandalorian thing. That Mandalorian that I was telling you about. That's how I feel about that with the Star Wars thing, because you can tell these people, and even back to the Batman with Christopher Nolan, you can tell that these people love this subject matter. They don't want this subject matter to be looked at in a dumb light. And that's what I appreciate. I can tell these guys are fans. They're not just doing it for like well, I got hired to do a Batman movie, so I don't,
Right,
no,
right.
these guys are actual fans.
Or
And,
they want to make Batman all their own thing that has
Yes.
nothing to do with the Batman that everyone knows and loves,
Sure,
right? Yeah.
sure, yeah. And I really say with this Mandalorian thing, they went back and they've done stuff that, and I was playing the video game the other day I was telling you about. I know someone had to grow up watching that video game because of a certain scene in the movie. I know it. I just know it. You know what I mean? So, anyways, it's just, I enjoy that. So, but I don't know. Like I said, when I tried to watch the remake of The Car the other day, no, it just looked like something just silly. It had nothing to do with the movie.
Was it made for Netflix? Do you know anything about it, or did you just?
No, I think it was made for Netflix.
Okay,
yeah,
it's an odd remake.
Yeah,
so they're streaming both the original and the remake now.
Yes, yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. Last thing I gotta say though about the car, the car itself is a kick-ass car too. It's just I love the the whole. It's just a great movie. Plus, I don't know, I just love that. It's just I really do.
Let's get to our official film for this week, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's do that.
Oh, it's a doozy.
Oh, baby. So this one was referred to us by our pal, the Fresh Prince of Darkness himself, Mr. Mark Diamond from the Dwarves. Yeah. So the film is from 1991, Revenge of Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Billy the Kid versus Dracula.
No, which we've been on a Billy the Kid freakout.
Sort of. Yeah. This
is not quite the same Billy the Kid.
No. This is like we've been talking about. This isn't my Child's Play. This isn't the car. Well, yeah, this isn't our Billy the Kid. I'm not sure if I like or not like it. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing here. So, and to prove that, let me get to a short storyline summary here, synopsis for Revenge of Billy the Kid. Let me get out Movie Guy. Movie Guy wasn't expecting this today. So I don't know if he's going to go on strike after this or not, but let me get out Movie Guy and have him give you the storyline summary here for Revenge of Billy the Kid. All right, here we go. The horny farmer McDonald has his wicked way with a goat. Life returns to normal for the family until the goat gives birth. The mutant offspring, called Billy, is tormented by the father's sons. Only the daughter feels any pity for him. It isn't long before Billy, who keeps growing bigger, plans revenge.
Yeah, he does.
All right. So, some of the filthiest people this side of a Rob Zombie movie.
Tim, thank you. I was going to say, I felt there for a while. I was watching a Rob Zombie film.
Yeah.
But they were a little bit cleaner than Rob Zombie.
Let's just say this. Don't watch this while you're eating.
No.
If you are even slightly squeamish or anything, do not just turn it off. Turn us off.
Right,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or don't turn us off, but listen and then don't watch.
If you're not a fan of mud or dirt bags, you're not gonna like
slop or you remember the scene in Monty Python, The Holy Grail?
Yeah.
When they're going through and all the peasants are slopping the mud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Terry Jones goes, there's some good filth over here. Yeah. That's pretty much where we're at this movie. So the muggiest farm on the face of the planet. That's what it's taking. And it's I guess the British version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family.
Yeah, the Sawyer family, I think. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So, they're and all they do is they're gross and they fart and they poop and they pee and it's a little incestuous. It's pretty gross. The whole damn thing, pretty gross. Okay, so anyway, they're trying to get milk from the goat, from the farm's goat or whatever, and not getting a whole lot of milk. And the matriarch of this lovely family starts telling the father, the patriarch of the family, that, someone really needs to have their way with this goat so that it starts giving more milk.
Yeah.
So that the old man, old McDonald, technically is his name. Old McDonald, he has his way with the goat so it produces more milk.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
Gives baby.
I just thought he was drunk one day.
Okay, so the goat gives birth to a goat baby person.
Yes.
And Yeah.
Sheep squatch.
Yes, a sheep squatch. And the only person in the family with any scruples are really actually kind of attractive is the daughter who has pity on the poor wretched beast.
Yes.
And starts training it like a dog, basically.
Yeah,
This
playing with
sheep
it.
squatch, Billy, if you would.
Billy.
Yes.
Yeah. Goat squatch, I guess.
Yeah, and then well, Billy, like he gets mad, he gets big, and gets beasty.
Yeah.
Beastly, or whatever. So, yeah.
There's some, well, Tim, this is one of those type of movies. Like, okay, I was watching, I'm like, I don't know if I should hate or loathe these people or I should love these people.
Right. Yep.
They're so disgusting in their disgustingness that they just love it. It's just, I mean, like, the one guy ends up shooting his foot off, the one son, and they're like, whatever, pick, like, come on, get up. Like, it's no big deal,
Right.
Come on, more.
The entire family is named Ronald McDonald.
Yes, yeah.
The entire family. The daughter's Ronnie McDonald. She's also Ronald McDonald. I think the only McDonald that isn't called Ronald McDonald is the patriarch, the father, the old man.
Yeah.
Who's Giles, I think. Giles McDonald.
Yeah.
So.
And the mom, she's a pip too. She's quite the pip.
Yeah.
And then
got a little bit of a boil issue on her foot.
Yes, this will give you a little insight into the family dynamic too.
Yes.
So they're eating dinner or lunch or whatever, kind of in the beginning there, and they're all sitting around the father and the sons and the mother and the daughter and the grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Well, grandfather dies as they're eating. He just like dies, and you think, they're kind of sad about this. No. They only took a second to kind of figure out like who should get to the food first, man.
Right,
to his plate, man. They start grabbing his food, like splitting up his food, and then they just basically take him out, throw him on the compost pile. And I do think the one kid takes his hat off and holds it for a second, but they just keep it on.
Right.
They don't care, man. Like this is their family, man.
No, the two guys basically take them and swing them and go 1, 2, 3, and you think they're going to throw him on top of this pile of mud and shit and stuff. No, they throw him about 6 inches and he just rolls back down. They just leave him there.
As he decomposes throughout the movie.
Yes. Another thing, if you are someone who is a politically correct person, stay away from this movie. That's another thing too. If you're easily offended, stay the fuck away from this movie. Trying to think here. As we're describing it, I'm trying to warn and caution people about this and stuff. So, and basically the goat man, Billy.
Billy grows to enormous size.
He grows to enormous size, and the daughter, the attractive gal, she gets accosted by a couple people. It makes the Billy go crazy. Yes, and he just becomes a monster and starts going through everyone. I mean, he loses it. Yeah, I don't think he cares anymore who he's killing.
No.
He just kind of loses it, and he just becomes complete Billy Goat, and all the humanity's gone. So he starts eating everyone's clothes, basically. Yeah. And the people just happen to be in the clothes. So they are, I guess they are, I don't know. They're casualties. They're acceptable casualties in the great Billy Goat clothes eating event in England in the summer of 1991.
Well, and the thing is too, because like the patriarch of the family there, he hates Billy the Goat, so he's trying throughout the most of the movie to kill him
or sell him.
And so like they end up having a brawl, those two, and then he takes like the Billy the Goat out and throws him in puts him in a burlap sack and throws him in the drink, or in the pond to sink and get rid of him, but he ends up coming back. Right. So it's like he's already pissed off. He's pissed off. He's got that Frankenstein's monster thing, Well,
I was going to say, it's kind of a scuzz bucket version of Frankenstein.
Yeah. He's got that, whole, daddy issues. Type thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yep. So he's got that going for him. But, it's just like a real scuzzy movie, but it's actually quite funny.
Well,
it's a dark comedy.
Yes.
Or a scuzzy comedy. But man, it did make me laugh. It made me chuckle quite
if you
a
can
bit.
If you can get into it, if you can get through like 10 or 15 minutes of it, it starts wearing you down.
Yeah.
And then you start laughing at it.
Yes.
More than with it. And that's kind of
Right.
the genius of the film is that it's so over. And here's the thing too, if it didn't have all the ugly toilet grossness, it's gross enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't need the toilet shit.
Oh, this
isn't like Will Ferrell like toilet humor. I'm talking this is gross. Like just like outhouse humor that's not really even funny. I mean, that part's really not very funny. But if it didn't have that, this would be like a Dead Alive, like cult film. I mean, or something like that. But it's got all that, and I think it turns too many people off. And I can't say it turned me on, But if you can get through the beginning, it kind of like it's almost as if the film it weeds out people who aren't going to like this in the beginning.
Sure.
It weeds you out. You're not going to make it through this. If you make it through 10 or 15 minutes, you're probably going to have a ball with this film.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh out loud. I did laugh out loud a few times. Not a whole lot, but it was humorous. Yeah. It was very humorous.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It made me chuckle a lot. Like there's some silly stuff. And just like I said, this family, I didn't know if I should hate them or love them, man. I just, because I was like, they're so awful. And they're awfulness. I just...
Right.
It was funny, but that's the one thing I kept thinking too is about the Rob Zombie effect.
Right.
But I think as far as the Billy Kid looks okay too. The
monster is actually really good. That's the thing. Remember I always said these things are better when they're played straight. Now this movie isn't totally played straight, and so don't get me wrong. And I'm not going to pretend like it is, but the monster is. There's no making fun of that monster. And even when it's little and stuff, it's not bad. The puppet and everything they use when it's little, it's not bad. And they're not making fun of the monster. Horror comedies work when that happens. If you watch Abbott Costello Meet Frankenstein, they don't make fun of the monsters at all. It's a horror film, and the humor is the fear that Lou and Bud have.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
and I think that plays much better, much better than it, because same thing that they do, Tucker and Dale, they're not making fun of it, it's like, it's just the comedy of things that are going on around them, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or what's happening,
right.
Which makes it so much more fun.
Yes, agreed. To watch. Yeah, absolutely. And oh my God, listen, here, this is a personal note. Thank you, Mark Diamond, if for nothing else than cluing me in on Michael Ripper's final acting role.
Oh yeah,
he's in this. He's in the bar.
That's right.
And they have it's basically a cameo, a special appearance. But I'll be darned if that wasn't old handsome himself sitting there. Yeah. And he died in 2000 at age 87. So he did, I guess, retire and whatever. But this was his final acting role. Maybe after watching it, he decided to retire. I'm not sure.
I'm just going to die now.
Well, he lived on quite a bit after this, so I think he just hid. I think he hid from everyone after this. But that was very cool. I was like, besides the monster, that was my favorite part is Michael Ripper showing up. That was cool as shit, actually. I love me some Michael Ripper. But yeah, the Goat Man monster effects, man, it ranged from fun to surprisingly good, all things considered.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, and I know this is a little odd, but even the acting in it is either good or it's appropriate.
Exactly,
like not all of it is good, but it's appropriate for it not to be the best acting sometimes.
Right, and it's hard some of it's a little hard to understand.
It is.
They got a lot of serious broke.
Some thick UK accents.
Yes.
And talk fast. When they talk fast, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually enjoyed it, and I thought it lent pretty well to the film. And though, the main character, the girl, she was good too in it,
Yeah.
And they had like a little, offshoot story of her with had a little romance, with the butcher's son, one of the island or the town folk or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And
they're aren't they like on an island or something? Or they're on and so that would be the mainlanders or something. They're the outside. These people are unabashedly incestuous, basically.
Right.
And so they don't want her. They don't want her breeding outside the family. Basically, is what it seems like. At least watching this.
Right, exactly.
She was the only appealing character, and that was way by design. I mean,
for sure. And they made her more.
Yeah.
They tried to make her a little bit more frumpy and just the clothes that she wore, but you could tell that she had a nice little shape to her.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes. But and then her boyfriend. This movie, like it starts gross. When the billy goat is born, that's when it kind of gets cooking. Because so if you can make it through the gross setup, then you get rewarded with the little billy monster, and then by the end of it, you get rewarded. The film and the story twists itself into a homage to Evil Dead 2 or Evil Dead. It really does. I mean, because the boyfriend comes to try to save the day from the goat man. He's got a chainsaw. He comes in, does a one-liner, and the chainsaw breaks down, which is verbatim exactly Evil Dead. So
totally.
But that's a nice homage. That's a kind of a fun little, deal. And it's definitely influenced by some of the gross out fun movies of the late 80s, from Reanimator to the Evil Dead films, the Stuart Gordon stuff and all that, all those movies too. This is just taking it to another gooey gross level, like scatological gross level, basically. So
it does though. But I will say, like, I did enjoy about 95% of it a lot. I thought it was pretty darn good, but like Billy Goat too, he ends up coming back and after the family, like big time too. And then they're like holed up in the house and he kills the mom. He kills the,
it definitely goes into a horror film. Yeah. It's comedy and horror, gross out comedy and gross out horror, basically. I mean, it is unabashed. It's just right in your face.
Yeah. But I mean, they did a good job as far as like, it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty gross stuff.
There's really gross stuff in it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I just think the way they played it was pretty darn good, for the most part. But this is one of those movies, and this is what I enjoy about a lot of them like this. While I'm watching it, I'm saying to myself, what am I watching?
Right.
Like, what the hell? Not unlike, some of the fine ones that you sent me over my Petri dish films over the years. Exactly. Same thing. I'm like, what am I watching? And you know what? It was one of those that I'm like, I'm glad I'm watching it, even though it's a little bizarro. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty silly.
I think this is a descendant or or not, maybe not descendant, but it's a I'm trying to connect it to Black Sheep.
Yeah.
Black Sheep is a much more sanitized version of this. Much more sanitized, but there is a lot of similarities. And this Black Sheep,
farm animal freakout.
Yes, we have been. I can't explain it. I do live in a rural area. Black Sheep is a descendant of this film. I should say it that way. And,
exactly. Yeah.
But the Black Sheep is much more of a outrageous film than a gross out film.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
And The Revenge of Billy the Kid is a outrageous gross out. gross out. It's trying to make you look away.
To gross you out.
Yeah, it's trying to make you look away. It's daring you to turn it off. Is what it's doing. So that being said, although Harley and I are having fun here and explaining this, believe me this, if you are squeamish, if you think like certain things are too gory or too gross or something like that, if you can't handle a John Waters movie, and I mean an old one, if you can't handle something like that, then do not watch this. Don't watch it. On the other hand, if you're not squeamish and you like really off-center humor, and gross out humor and odd things that push envelopes and bizarreness and stuff, you'll love this. Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely fun. And really, honestly, without it, we probably wouldn't have a movie like Black Sheep or something like that. And I love Black Sheep. And in fairness, Me too. I like Black Sheep a lot more than this movie. But
I think I do too. But this is still like kind of in that vein. Mm-hmm. This was one though I kind of enjoyed. It was one of those from out of left field. I'm like, this is pretty darn good,
Mm-hmm.
And you know me, I've gotten a little more squeamish in my old age.
Yeah.
I won't say squeamish. I don't think
You've
blood
had
and
it.
guts makes horror.
Right.
It doesn't.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
And so, but this,
Well, this is much more. This is much more than that. Now let's be
Yeah,
fair. It
exactly.
isn't just
And that's
that.
the
There,
thing.
it's a simple story, but it's definitely written. There's definitely a script.
Yes.
It's definitely written. There's
Yeah.
definitely an.
Yeah.
There's a
Definitely.
point to it. There's definitely the end is a little abrupt, and we had to kind of rewind it to say, did that just happen? Like, okay, and it seems like a little bit of a shortcut there at the end. But look, I know this movie had a hard time getting made. And like the lead actor, like they had to like recast him because he couldn't get. They made like half the movie, ran out of money, and it took them quite a while to get the money to finish it. And then they had to recast it. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some shots where the original actor, I think, is still in some shot. I think so. Yeah,
as the dad's part. Yeah,
I think. Yeah. So there is some goofiness like that to it and everything. So it took a little while. This is definitely a labor of, I don't know if love.
Is the right
it's
word.
a labor of hate toward the audience, I think, at some level,
Yeah.
It's a clumsy movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
But so is Evil Dead, the first one.
Sure. Oh yeah. Sure.
Especially the first one.
Yeah.
But it has charm to it. It has
Yeah.
an energy to it, and you can appreciate it for it. Certainly wasn't trying to win any friends when they were making it. They set out to make a movie and they made it.
Yeah,
and that's
have
exactly
fun
what
with
it was.
Yeah.
They
and I think
did.
that's it's not. You can't take this movie serious. I was even trying to explain it on the way, driving to a wrestling show over the weekend, and I tried to explain it to Jeremy, one of the clowns on the way. And at first, I think he was kind of looking at me like I was bizarro.
He screamed like a girl and ran from you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, he lives on a farm, so he might, never know. That stuff. That happens all the time.
He might have gotten offended then. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't want to say he'll come after me next. So I don't want
Yeah. But no, I did enjoy this movie a lot. Actually,
Right.
I thought it was pretty darn good. For what it was worth.
Right.
Stuff like this I can't take serious because it just can't. And I actually enjoy that more. Because I think. I'm not always so up to the comedy horror stuff, but when it's done right, I do enjoy it a lot.
Well, and I'm not always up to. I'm with you a little bit. I'm tired of the gore and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes when it's trying to hurt you,
yes,
and make you look away, that's one thing. If it's trying to make you go ooh and look away, I'm kind of okay with that. If you want to show a person on a table getting every piece of them cut off slowly, that's not this kind of movie. No, it's not like that. That to me is like that torture porn gore shit.
Yeah.
That's like it's only there to be there, And hey, some people like it. That's fine. That's fine. It's like, and some of those movies really aren't bad. The torture shit slows them down sometimes.
Yeah, I think so too.
The story's not too bad in some of these movies, and then they just hang on shit forever and ever and ever. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to win all these arguments, but I'm going to give Revenge of Billy the Kid a great bait bub. I think it was. Yeah. It's a fun, gross out movie. Again, please, folks, this is not Tarantula. Okay, this is a gross movie, and we just don't want people getting blindsided by this if they want to go find it and check it out. If you can handle it, though, it's a lot of fun. And thank you again. If for nothing else, Mark Diamond. Michael
Diamond.
Ripper's last performance.
Yeah,
for nothing else, But yeah, this is. I don't get turned on to movies very often.
No, yeah,
it just doesn't
do the turning on.
Right, and I had heard of this movie before, but when you look at the title, you immediately just sort of think it's a weird Western or something.
Yeah, you think it's a Western.
Yes,
because, and I think that really did hurt this film.
I agree.
I think too.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it was just called Revenge of Billy the Goat.
Right.
Might even be better.
Right.
I do.
Revenge of the Billy Goat. Something like that. Then they would probably, and if they took a little bit of the toilet shit out.
Sure.
They had to take, if they would have done both of those, you would, not all of it, but just some of it, because I do think that's hung on too much too. There is no scene with those people. They're just not farting and pooping and peeing on each other. And they're just like, it's like, man, Jesus, so, and it's basically daring you to deal with it and to get through it. You know,
Right.
So,
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
though, Angio watched it with me, and she definitely had
Yeah.
many comments that,
Did she? Oh, I can imagine.
gross. Oh, I can't watch it. You know,
Yeah.
but, you know, there were moments where we giggled. She giggled a little bit
Yeah.
too and stuff like that, you know. So,
Yeah.
in fairness, though, she's pretty calibrated by me. So she's
Yeah.
seen some
Oh, yeah,
crazy
for sure.
shit. It's just a lot of shit packed into a small amount of
Oh,
time.
yeah, that it is, definitely.
Yeah. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Great Vape Up.
Great
to
Vape
the
Up.
rafters. For me. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. It was
All right.
different.
All right.
Not, like I said, not quite Black Sheep, but still fun. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Maybe it was like, I kind of need something like that. The mood that I've been in, it was nice to have something a little bit more fun for me too. Yeah. So.
Well, I really don't want this to take the place of professional help for you, but if it did,
no.
If it was that therapeutic, then wow.
Yeah, there was some bizarro-ness to it for me. You know, just enough to be fun. You know?
Sure.
Now, some of it I was like, oh, I don't know. Oh boy, I don't know. But yeah, I still had fun with it, and it just gave me some chuckles. I wasn't expecting it, so yeah.
How could you though? How could you?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, one thing I do expect, Mr. Ben Harley, is we expect to be back here next week.
Yeah.
Where we will delve into live. I don't know what's going to be. I highly doubt it's going to be another Goatman horror film, but you never know.
No.
You never know.
Sheep, go. Yeah, we need a cow one. Killer cow now.
Famous last words, right? Yeah. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, till next week, Mr. Ben Harley. And all you deep thinkers out there, remember FullEmpirePromotions.com. Go to help Danny Hicks if you can donate.
Yes, sir.
And until next week, Mr. Ben Harley and deep thinkers, stay spooky. And we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Tim O and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.